everybody. Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you are all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hit the bell icon so you're made aware any time we put new content on. Another great guest today, and I've just figured out his name of his channel, Fandango. Very clever. It's taken me months to come up and realise that. How's it going, Dan? How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, very, very good. Just thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. How's things with you at the moment?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just obviously the world's in a weird place, isn't it? But I've just been working from home.
What's been
happening? I know. Yeah, we try not to talk about it too much, don't we? We try to ignore it. But yeah, I've been working from home, mate. I'm a freelance graphic designer on the side of doing the YouTube stuff. So yeah, just been sat at home basically. It's been nice because I've got a 14-week-old, so I've been able to be at home with my little one the whole time, which is nice.
Because the babes, they develop at such a quick rate, don't it? So
yeah, exactly. And usually you think I probably would have only got a couple of weeks if I'd have been sort of at work or whatever, but this time it's been quite nice to be there the whole time. So yeah,
I suppose as you said, with because you're a freelance graphic designer, you've got your Mac and you know as long as you've got your bedroom,
as long as you've got your computer, you can just crack on, can't you? From home, still earn money.
And how's work been going, man? Because like obviously,
so. There's still enough stuff to do. A lot of the stuff I get, mates, through YouTube, thumbnails, moving graphics, lower thirds, all that sort of stuff, intros. So as long as people are making content, then there's work out there for me to find.
You're right. In a weird thing, that although maybe the more corporate side's gone, everyone's gone on YouTube, innit, and Twitch and stuff. So. Oh, brilliant. That's all right. Yeah, you don't think about it that way. You're always thinking, oh, fucking hell, graphic design. My brother's graphic designer. I go, oh, fucking hell, must be. And I know quite a few as well. And you think, oh, God. But yeah, no, if you can do the old, as you said, the YouTube stuff and the Twitch stuff, you are laughing.
And you can make all right money doing it as well. There's loads of people, especially if you can get one of the bigger, especially like Twitch, for instance, you get one of the bigger Twitch guys. Like, you can end up sorting their remotes out and all sorts, and they will come back to you every month for updates and things. So yeah, it's quite good, mate.
That's the thing, because they always want new style, new fresh, new skins, don't they? So yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, nice. And obviously the YouTube stuff as well, the Fandango stuff, and
obviously that channel's been going for a little while now. And through them, I met the guys at Irons United. So I help out the guys at Irons United a little bit. I'm very good friends with like Stel and Ant and Alf and all the guys over there. But yeah, just doing my stuff. Started a podcast this season, trying to do things a little bit differently, because having a baby, it's difficult to be able to find the time to really sit down and record a lot of content in bulk. So instead now I've just been sitting down with my brother and my mate Luke and just having a chat about the Premier League basically. And it's going all right, mate. It's nice.
Exactly. That's why I started this channel, because I just got an excuse to go and sit and talk about football for an hour or so.
You get left alone as well, didn't you?
I do, yeah. I'm going to do huge, because they don't really understand, do they? And they don't understand what's going on. And it's like, my wife's like, okay, yeah. I've got an interview. Okay, yeah. Is anyone I know this today? No, sorry, no, not today. There's only been 2 interviews. Three interviews she's been asked about: Harry Redknapp, Chesney Hawkes, and Razor Ruddock. That's the only 3 she's given a shit about. Bless her.
Not bad. How many have you done so far?
I think 190 something. We're rapidly on a 200th, and there is a big one coming, hopefully, for the 200th. That's all I'm saying.
Decent.
So, no, it's good, man. No, I mean, this has been going about 4 or 5 months, and it's just been mental, because everyone likes talking about nostalgia. I mean, you do all the current stuff with obviously the podcasts and stuff, and as you said, Stel's lot and Hammer's chat. They all do the how shit the club is, and all that stuff. I just do nostalgia and things like that.
No, it's nice though. It's something different, mate. It's something different. It's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good fun. So Dan, obviously we know you. Obviously you do this. Work with the guys at Irons United and stuff like that. And we know if you listen to your podcast, you're a massive West Ham fan. The first question I always ask everyone is why.
Well, with me, it's just
I've asked myself that question many years.
I know. Yeah, but for me, it's a boring one. It's geographical and family. Unfortunately, my nan and granddad are from Custom House, so as a result, they just followed West Ham, and then from there, it's just worked its way down. Weirdly, my brother and my dad are not West Ham fans. They're actually, my brother's United and my dad's Newcastle. Try and work that one out, considering they're both from the East End. It's a bit weird, but everyone else in the family is all West Ham, and we've just kind of passed it on. And my brother's got a 2-year-old now, and he bought him a United kit, and I refused to let him wear it. So we've got to make sure he's West Ham as well. But yeah, it's just geographical and family. Unfortunately, it's a bit no exciting stories
No, but
this
it's
time.
not. Yeah, but it isn't. Yeah, but I mean, it is. I mean, there are. I'm the same. Geographical and family. Both sides of my family supported West Ham. I had no chance. I think we sort of brought the lineage back to. I think it was my great granddad was like coach of the ironworks or something like that. And so it was. I didn't have a chance, and my daughter hasn't got a chance. 3 days old, and I got a picture of her in the playoff trophy. Her due date, you won't appreciate this as a new dad. Her due date was actually the playoff final, and I had a really good ticket, like a front row seat, and so I went to Wembley, and it's free as well.
Risky.
Yeah, I was walking, I was working as well, so I was, I was being chaperoned to Bubbles and Hammerhead, fucking comic. What's the guy's name? What's oh my god, Bubbles the bear. Hammerhead, isn't it?
Yeah, Hammerhead, yeah. Yeah, it's Hammerhead.
Jeez, it's not like I haven't worked at the club for 20 years or something like that. God dear, I haven't seen him. That's why, because they haven't let him in.
It must be weird for you at the club, mate.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Must be weird at the minute.
It is weird. He hasn't he didn't, he's not one of the chosen few to get there, old Hammerhead and Bubbles the Bear. They leave him at Zoom. So on those Zoom meetings, he's always in there, Hammerhead, and it's just like, oh, bless him. Put his costume on. It's like, scored a goal.
Does his bit.
Yeah, no, it is weird, man. It is very, very weird. It's so much so that I have to always put on like the Irons United live streams or the Hammers chat or West Ham, West Ham Fan TV, just to have something in the background.
Yeah.
And also just to fuck them off a bit as well, because obviously I'm about 3 minutes ahead of them all. So I'll be like, goal! I won't say it's 4. And they go, oh, fuck off, Russ. Oh,
don't do this to us now.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's all good fun. I actually won. I think it was the Brentford game or the Bournemouth game. Might have been both. I actually jumped on and was the 4th guest on the Irons United one because it was so boring, the game. So I just had to walk around the stadium and stuff like that as well with them. But bless them. But yeah, it is weird. It is very, very strange. But when you're watching the football, are you a crowd noise on or off type person?
A bit of both at the minute.
Yeah.
A bit of both. It depends, to be honest with you. It's so strange watching it without crowd noise. It is so weird. But then the crowd noise is just not the same, is it? So there are times where I just think, oh, quick, turn that off. A lot of the time I've been watching the football without the volumes. I don't even listen to the commentary at the minute. I just watch the ball get kicked about because it's just an odd way to watch football, to be honest with you. As a season ticket holder as well, you're usually there every home game.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm having to watch the home games from home, and that's just weird to me. It's just so weird to me. I miss the whole event that is football because really, let's be honest, most West Ham fans don't go for the football. If they do, they're not going for like world class football, are they? So a lot of us go for the social, see our pals, catch up with people and what you've done in the week and whatever. And I'm just missing the whole event really, rather than just going to the games. It's a bit strange.
It is. Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? It's that, as you said, it's like, although I'm surprised how well people have sort of adjusted to it, because like, we've had, I'm always invited to Zoom watch along parties and stuff like that from various fan groups, and they do keep together. And obviously the YouTube stuff, and obviously Facebook and Twitter, and they, I'm surprised how well people have, if anyone's struggling, you can see them all jumping on and helping each other out.
People have adapted, haven't they?
Yeah,
people have adapted to the situation really, really well. I think it's helped. I think it has helped that a lot of the football's on the TV. I think that's really helped. The fact that whoever is in charge of that sort of thing, like the month of September, all the games are on the telly again. I don't know if that's going to be the same this month, but I think that's helping because people still feel involved, especially those people that are used to going every single week. So
you're right.
Yeah, there is that.
I mean, my 8-year-old daughter managed to teach my mother-in-law how to use FaceTime and WhatsApp. So, that's the great thing that you're going to get it. So you're IT support. I'm not IT support now. It's my 8-year-old daughter, and she's the one. My wife goes, "Flo, what's happening with this app?" Oh, mummy. Oh, you got to reset it.
I'm already there, mate. I builders were doing something the other day with the alarm, and they couldn't do it. I ended up going out there and having to sort it out for them. So, there you go.
I know, but then anything like putting together a flat pack or painting a wall. And I'm useless. Honestly, it's like the wife gets a man. She'll look at it and go, oh, look, that wall needs painting. Yeah, I'll ask Tony to come and do it. It's like, oh, I'm here.
Just
I'm here.
just use my dad's line. He's always preparing. Yeah, I'll do that another day. I'll prepare to do that another day.
I always did it because I was like during lockdown. My wife's like, "Oh, do you want to clear that up or put the garage away?" Yeah. I've put that down to do on Thursday. Otherwise, if I do it now, then I'll have nothing to do. You've got to eke it out. Otherwise. So now I've got no excuse now. But yeah, now it's sorry, love. I've got to go and we'll go and chat to Dan now, so I can't put the flow to bed tonight. So
it's good enough excuse, mate.
It is a good enough excuse. Do you remember your first game, Dan?
Oh God, yeah. My first game was West Ham Man United, which is why my brother is a Man United fan. We were taken with obviously the idea that we would both fall in love with West Ham, eventually be season ticket holders together, and it would be something we did. And unfortunately, Ryan Giggs played a blinder, and my brother fell in love, and that was it. It was like love at first sight for my brother and Ryan Giggs. And I think it finished 2-2. Ludo had an unbelievable day at the office. I'm pretty sure it was that game. But yeah, long time ago, mate.
Yeah,
long time ago.
It is about the sort of the routine. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying how their nan used to live near the ground and used to put the bins out to get the car park spaces. And you remember that all those bins. It's like I remember my granddad, bless him. He had this Vauxhall Cavalier or something like that, and he would nudge it, and like the bins are like this small. It's like some poor fuckers pulled up with their, not getting there, mate, not getting there.
So after I met my wife, her brother and my father-in-law, they're West Ham fans as well, and my season ticket was just along from theirs. So I started travelling to the game with like Charlie and Fred has got like an alarm company basically, and so one of his clients has got like an office in East Ham. So every match day it was, can I use that parking space again? So straight away just park up there and then walk up to the garage. So he always had a parking space. Everyone found a way, didn't they? When we was at Upton Park.
And you always had you had like 3 or 4 positions. So if it was like, it's busy today, when it's busy, when like position 2 you can't go and you've got to go down the road, turn right, and that is one thing about having no fans is I do get a car park space at the stadium.
Yeah, easy peasy, and I would imagine.
Home in 25 minutes, you know what I mean? Hornchurch, no worries. Straight down the A12. Although no, they stopped it. They cut off the road at Westfield. She had to go all around the back. Put in Mill Lane. But anyway, what an inconvenience. That's the thing. It's just like, but it's just always rituals, isn't it? Like all the rituals you used to do, and Ken's Calf or Urcan's. We used to go to fish and chip shop, the old Urcan's fish and chip shop on Barking Road. But it's funny times. It is funny. Yeah, it's sad when you think about it, but it's.
Mate. I miss it. I miss it a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. Everyone's going to have their opinion on the stadium that we're in now. Yep. I'm obviously one of the older school that remembers Upton Park very, very well. Was a season ticket holder there for many years, and so it's just not the same. The match day experience. I think it's not so much that the stadium. I don't really think it matters where you watch the football. Like there were places in Upton Park you could have sat and the view wouldn't have been amazing. No. But I think it's the match day experience. You come out of the station now, you've got that walk up to the ground. There's not much about it. Whereas before, it was completely different. Bustle, the energy, the minute you got out of the station, the energy was real. You used to get the butterflies, and I don't really get that anymore. I don't get that anymore.
And I think that's indicative of modern football as well, Dan. I think because it's like you look at all these big, to make a big stadium, it has to be out on the outskirts, really, isn't it? So you do have, and it's like that's why I love Wembley, the stadium, but I hate that walk from Wembley Park because it's just like sterile. It is like walking from Stratford to London Stadium. It is.
Yeah, it is.
There's no going away with it. It is just concrete and nothing buzzy about it. But having the sort of like Bramall Lanes, which are just literally stuck in a fucking awful estate, you don't get that anymore now, and it's just like the more and more places are sort of more big stadiums are coming up, but we'll see. I mean, but anyway, if the team were like top 6, top 8, the stadium's the last thing people moan about.
People wouldn't moan. Unfortunately, as West Ham fans, we're always going to find something to moan about, aren't we? And unfortunately, it's the stadium, and
like fucking popcorn. It's just like they were selling peanuts in the 50s. They weren't moaning about them, were you? Fucking cashews, but
everyone's going to find something, mate.
Yeah, we love a moan, don't we? But I think that's what makes West Ham fans West Ham fans. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? I think it's, the fact is we're hardened. We're sort of. I mentioned it the other day. You know, like when you learn the guitar for the first time, you have to get the calluses on your fingers. So you have to sort of. That's like being a West Ham fan. You get like the calluses, so you
yeah.
get hardened.
Someone who plays the drums, mate. I know exactly what you're on
Yeah,
about.
exactly. So
Yeah,
you get when you get your calluses there, so
yeah,
you can hold
all,
sticks. Yeah. My
yeah.
daughter's trying to learn she's 8 and we just bought her an electric kit and she hasn't
It's the
touched it
best.
once since.
Oh, it's the best age to learn though when you're so young, mate, and
Yeah.
because you just don't think about it. The older you
No.
get, you think way too much. I've been playing
Yeah.
since I was little, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's like breathing to me now. It's like second
Yeah. No,
nature. But
yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's like we had I was so like if I was playing fucking lockdown bingo, I would have probably won because I bought myself a ukulele, like everyone did, for like 20 quid off Amazon. And it's like, because I play the guitar, and so I learned to play the ukulele, and I can't go back to the guitar now because it's just like, feels like a fucking cello, it's so big. I'm used to having this little George Formby type thing. I said George Foreman. No, he did the grill, didn't he? George Foreman. But yeah, no, I'm just looking at this drum kit here, this Roland kit, and it's just gathering dust. Gathering dust.
it's not good,
But
mate.
you'll get used to that. Come Christmas, you'll
Yeah,
get
I
used to
know.
that.
Yeah, I know. Not looking
That's
forward
the
to it, mate.
thing.
We ain't got the room now, so God knows what it's going to be like
I'm
once we
in I'm
start.
in the room that's been built. This is like we've got this sort of like we've got this massive sort of like summer house garage thing, and we built this just so she could fill it. She could buy more shit to put into the house, more toys, more LOL dolls, and God. Anyway, we
Yeah,
digress on this channel as we always
yeah.
do, but yeah, no, and obviously since then, as you said, season ticket holder for many years. Where do you sit in? Well, not at the moment, but at the London Stadium. Where are you at the moment?
So I'm in the Bobby Moore end, is it? I'm with Stell. I can't even remember. Jesus. Yeah, it's the Bobby Moore end. I'm literally 2 seats away from Stell and all
Are
that.
you
Lot.
on the? Are you in the technically the new straightened bit or?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I'm that
I like
end.
that. Looks alright.
Yeah, my seat's actually further away though. It will. That's what it looked. Whether or not it will be, I don't think
Yeah.
we'll really be able to tell until we get in there. But yeah,
Yeah.
from the little mock up they've done, it looks like I'm 2 seats further back. But no, it looks. I don't know if we're any closer or any further away.
No.
I don't really think it
I think
matters.
aesthetically it does look a bit better. I
Yeah,
think, but then you've got
yeah, I can imagine. But then for me, it was the sides that needed
the
doing
side
more than
bits.
the
Yeah, yeah,
ends.
yeah, yeah.
But I
Yes.
don't know.
We'll
Who
see.
knows, mate?
Who knows what happens? They might just, it might just go into, LS 93 193 might go into, shit up with that paddle and then just give it to us, and then we can just, who knows?
Do
Who
you
knows?
think? Do you think it is a question for you though? Do you think they would actually change it though? Do you think they would actually do any work to it if they did own it?
Yeah, I think they would. Honestly, I really think they would because I think we know that's a major gripe, isn't it? And it just, I mean, the fact is, if that's it's the right elephant in the room, really, isn't it? Right, I've just put two analogies together.
I know exactly what you mean though.
You know what I mean? The stadium is the thing which everyone has like a mixed views on. For me, I'm very pro the stadium. The only reason was in the background, Upton Park, bless it, bowling was falling apart in the back. I mean, I said a fucking tape deck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's still a tape deck, and it was
Yeah,
still queued up
with
to stop hammer time as well. It's quite funny.
I think the thing with Upton Park, as much as we all loved it, unless that could have been redeveloped, then they had no
Yeah.
option really. You either invest the money and redevelop it and try to make it bigger and so on and so on, or you have to do what they did and you move stadium.
Yeah.
I think the bit. Do you know what? I don't think people have got a problem with the stadium per se. I think they've got a problem with the promises that were made that the stadium
Yeah,
would
I
bring
think that's
us,
what
and they
people are saying,
never
yeah.
delivered. I think that's the issue more so.
Sure. Yeah, I get you. And I think also, we have these claret tinted glasses, of this wonderful stadium of the bowling. There is no chance you could do any social distancing at that stadium now.
No.
There's no way you'd be getting back until next season on that stadium. At least London Stadium is set up. They have done a pucker job on how well it is. How easy it is. Well, it was quite funny the other day. Not name dropping or anything, but I was waiting at the lift, waiting to go back down the lift, and next to me was Glenn Hoddle and whoever was commentating. It might have been Clive Tilsley or someone, I don't know who it was. And in the lift, there's these stickers and they're on the floor. And basically, there's 2 feet and they're facing the wall. So they want you to go in the lift and face the wall like opposite sides. And bless them, both of them walked up and stood like that. And they said, "Do you want to come in?" I went, "No, you're right, Glenn. Go on, son."
Wow, that's
There we go. There's a claim
okay.
to fame. There's a claim to
Yeah.
fame. But I mean, with that, I mean, when the bloody district line went down, and it was just if it's just like pissing it down, you got to walk all the way to
Yeah,
Stratford.
there were bits of it. There were bits of it that
Yeah,
were not ideal. I lived in
no,
Dagenham at the time when we were at Upton Park, and so the journey was easy enough. But like you say, the minute those trains
yeah.
went down, that was it. How do you get home? You got to walk all
Used
the
to
way
see,
to East Ham and jump
used to
on
see
a
him.
bus or whatever.
Used to see him drudging along to Barking Road, Barking Station on the drive home. I was like, oh bless him. But yeah, anyway, God bless it. God bless it. But as you said, for your kid now, they will know West Ham played at
Yeah, that's all they're gonna
so
know as
same as
well.
Flo, yeah, same as my daughter. Well, I did manage to get her in. Literally, I got a picture of her. I broke in, and so she did go to Upton Park. Bless her on the picture of her shirt, but yeah, she doesn't know no recollection
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
But it is what it is, man. Right, okay. Let's go and talk about the 11. Let's go and talk about 11. So, everyone we've interviewed, bar I think it's 3 people. Mr. Redknapp, Mr. Bishop, and Mr. Riacoca have picked their 11s. And so the idea is everyone we get on, we say, what's your Hammers 11? So the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play,
Mm-hmm.
and you play any formation you want, and you can talk about whoever you want. Doesn't have to be the best
Okay.
players, doesn't have to be the worst, can be whatever you want, man. And that's the
No.
way it works. So we'll start off in goal.
Yeah.
Who's in goal for the down 11?
So I've gone 4-4-2. Classic,
Nice,
4-4-2. Mike Bassett loves the 4-4-2, doesn't he?
Love
So that's
it.
why I stuck with it. I've gone Rob Green in goal.
Oh, lovely Rob Green.
It was him or Ludo, but
Hmm.
But I'll be honest with you, as much as I remember Ludo, I didn't see him play as often. But Greeno just went through a stage, didn't he, for us, where he was just phenomenal for a good few
Yeah.
years. Really rated him. Obviously, it was that point where he was so informed. He was calls for England, and I'll never forget the England number 6 on his gloves that he had
Yeah.
printed that time, and that just endeared him with me because I'm all about that sarcastic humour. I absolutely loved that. But yeah, just this Rob Green for me in goal. Not much more needs to be said. I just thought he was phenomenal. There was a good 3 or 4 years where I just thought, he was bang on, and then as luck should have it, he goes off to England, makes a few mistakes, and his career never really recovered, did it?
It's trouble with goalkeepers, though, isn't it? One mistake, and it's like Scott Carson, and we had a spate, didn't we? Every goalkeeper used to fuck it up after.
And it seems to affect goalkeepers more than any other position.
Yeah.
The minute they have one big mistake, that it just they don't seem to have the mentality to like recover like outfield players do for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like we you've got other goalkeepers at the moment. De Gea, for instance, is going for an awful time of it. Kepa at Chelsea, to the point where they've replaced him. So it just seems, it just seems like they have that one big error and they just never put it back. And I feel like.
But I think it's because I just think the nature of I think it's the nature of modern football. They're so more precious now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, back in the day, I mean, my granddad used to call it Ludo, Loopy Ludo, because he would have those well-beaten games, like always against Man United, but then he'll fluff one and flap at one, but he was strong enough in a mentality to just, almost like a golfer, you have to sort of play it, shrug it off, otherwise you're fucked for the next shot.
Definitely.
Yeah, Greeno, and he's the hardest working goalkeeper that I've been interviewing people like Jimmy Walker and stuff like that, and he goes, Greeno wasn't the best goalkeeper technically, but when he goes, because obviously he's training, he's doing he's goalkeeper coach for Ipswich or something like that. Jimmy's at the moment, and he says when any young goalkeeper comes in, he literally puts him in front of a tape of Robert Green and goes, just watch this boy. He is how you need to be in terms of technically, but also in terms of work ethic and stuff like that. And
you always love to hear that though, don't you? You always want to hear that the players are trying. He's one of those players who does it on the training pitch as well as out there, in front of the fans. There's nothing worse. There's plenty of players out there that don't train hard, and that drives me mad. All that talent in the world, and you can't. Some of them don't fulfil their potential because of that. And I like the fact that Greeno probably admitted to himself he probably weren't the best keeper, but if he worked hard, then he'd get his chance.
at that time we had Jimmy and then we had Roy Carroll, and he said Roy Carroll was the best goalkeeper he's ever worked with, and I was like, really? He went, yeah, he
Wow.
was. I was like, fuck, you right, Jim? Because now honestly, technically he was brilliant. Maybe me and him went on too many nights out in Epping. Yeah, maybe you did. Then he's talking. So Jim, so where did you live? I lived in Epping, around near 195. Yeah. Okay. Bless him. God bless him. Right, all right. We'll put Greeno in. If we're playing 4-4-2, let's go left back then, Dan.
Julian Dix. The
Talking
easiest
about
pick.
someone who don't train, Julian Dix.
But honestly, this was the easiest pick for me. Dix is one of the reasons why I support West Ham. He was the only man I was going to have in here at left back. To be fair, I'm after Frank Lampard Senior. Obviously, I know my West Ham history. I've sat down, I've watched a lot of old footage of other older players and whatnot. But yeah, like that was before my time. So Julian Dix was the one that I remember seeing, very early on when I started following the club and watching the club. I just love the fact he was so hard in the tackle. Decent, very good captain for us, led by example. Just absolutely loved him. We have to forget about that little moment he had when he went off to Liverpool. We forget that. We act like that didn't happen. But
he was the last person to score in front of the old cop, I believe. So there we go. But
Julian Dix for me, just hard as nails, mate. I love that, and I want that in a defender. That's what if I'm a manager, that's what I want in a defender. Even in the modern game, I know players have got a bit soft now, but I still absolutely love seeing a player decent in the tackle. Like Kufal, we see it a few times, didn't we, against Leicester? He was brilliant, and I like seeing that.
And it's Pete, and he was because he was such an intelligent football player. He read the game so well. He wasn't quick, particularly when he came back. Bless him, he had one leg basically playing on, and he could just read the game. He wasn't beaten for These guys could have walked past him in terms of pace, but he wasn't going to let. I remember once, I think it was Man United actually, and the ball came over and Cantona was behind him, and he did that little flick over, which he always used to do, but did it over Cantona, and Cantona just stood there and nodded. Yeah. And you went, fuck if Eric says...
Yeah, if you're getting a nod from the king, as United fans call him, then you must have been pretty decent. But I think people ignore the fact that he was quite technically gifted as well. Because obviously, he was known... he was known for his hard man style of defending, weren't he? So I think a lot of people kind of forget that about him. But yeah, he made do, didn't he? Yeah. Especially later on in his career.
Exactly. But you're right. I mean, outside of West Ham, exactly that. They didn't see him in terms of the fact he had this absolute wand of a left foot. And in West Ham, we all knew how good he was, and it's just technically, I think he was one of the best left backs he was the best left back never to play for England.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so definitely.
I'm not really one for penalties either, but I did love the way he took a penalty.
No chance, was there? There's no chance the keepers are getting them. Yeah. And again, I've been talking. It's funny, you talk to people about, and I go, Julian's, and obviously before his time, Stewart, and the way they just would thump him. No one does that anymore now, do they? No one just takes a run up and just hits it.
It's this stutter now that winds me up. It's it's just. Just take the penalty. I know, Mark Noble's a very, very good penalty taker. Yeah. I think I was reading something recently. I think he's like the second in Europe overall in the last 10 years or something for taking penalties.
Messi or Ronaldo.
Yeah, it was mad. But obviously, his placement's good. With him, he might not have the power, but his placement's so good that that's enough. But there's none of that silliness with the stuttering and the stepping and all that. Pogba. But that little, is it Pogba who does the silly little walk?
Yeah, just that.
It's awful. It's weird.
God, yeah, it really winds me up. It's like just put the ball down and thump it. Particularly those penalty shoot. I mean, we've seen a lot of penalty shootouts recently with all their the Carabao Cup and stuff like that. And a lot of those players just dink it. It's like, what is you've got so much. I think there was one of them where he dinked it and it went in, but the keeper dived and had time to get back up and could have easily saved it. It was it's like. Oh, it really winds me up. There's lots of things about the modern game I hate as well, which will probably come out. Right, who's going to be right back then, Dan?
Thomas Repka. I'm going equally as hard on the other side.
All in.
The thing I liked about, I don't know if I should say liked, but the thing about it, you just never knew what you was going to get. He was a madman.
That's why we like him. Yeah.
But I think that is what it was. I think he just, he endeared himself to the fans because of what a lunatic he was. I think as a fan base, we just like seeing that in a player.
We love him,
really. And again, it's like, it's another hard man, isn't it? It's another one who's going to clean you out at the first chance. I think obviously, didn't he get something like 4 reds, didn't he, in his career? I think people think he got a few more than that.
Well, because he got so many. I think he got 2 in his.
It was
first
very early
4
on,
games, didn't he? Yeah. something like that.
But he got a bit of a rep for himself, didn't he, for
Yeah.
being a bit of a naughty boy? But he actually weren't. But no, I just right back was one of the harder positions for me. I don't really remember seeing too many good right backs in my time. Like I'm not really a fan of the right back we've got at the minute in Fredericks. Obviously, I think Johnson's probably got a bit of potential, but yeah, I couldn't really remember too many.
No.
Someone said to me when I was putting my list together, I was sitting down with Luke, who I do the podcast with, and he threw out Sebastian Schemmel, and I was like, didn't he have like one good season? I can't have him in there, like a one season wonder.
He was hammer of the year that season, and then because he had hair like yours first season, and second season he came back and he had like a crop, and he was like Samson. All of his football, he just forgot
all his
how
mojo
to play.
had gone.
Exactly.
And then there was Faubert, who I think
Faubert, yeah,
he was the one that there was a lot of promise, and didn't he do his like Achilles or something in pre-season?
Yeah.
In typical West Ham fashion,
he was the first one that I did the whole YouTube clips. That was the first time I remember when we saw, who's this guy? And on YouTube, he had I was like, wow, this guy's brilliant. He's rapid. Yeah, and he did his Achilles I think we were in Switzerland or something like that pre-season, and he came back. And then we had to resort to put in like James Tompkins right back and stuff like that. It's never been the position. Maybe I'm hoping Kufal might be the
hopefully he looked really good against Leicester. I got to give him some due as well. He had one training session, didn't he? Sign 2 days before the game, and he put in an absolute shift. He was phenomenal.
Really. He didn't give Barnes a chance, really, bless him. But I just thought he was brilliant. And as you said, it's a position we've always just not done well.
Fullbacks in general. Fullbacks in general, especially in modern sort of times, like last decade, we've really struggled, haven't we? In both those areas. It's an area that we really do need to start investing in my opinion, because it's one of the more important positions in the game now.
Even more so, definitely.
So a lot of attacks are built on those flanks. So
it's now it's you got to think Julian and Repka. I mean, Repka, you wouldn't see doing a 50-yard run down the.
No.
He's a defender, wasn't he? And so now the modern game is they're more, they're not really defenders; they're auxiliary midfielders, really.
Yeah,
wingers,
definitely.
So, it's you need to have that pace, and obviously that's what Fredericks had, but he just didn't really have anything else. Bless him at the moment. But at least with Masuaku, you've played him at as almost like a winger, really. I mean, Stell's spitting feathers because he's playing really well.
Yeah, I know it comes up a lot. Trust me, it comes up a lot.
Yeah. Good old Stell, and Masuaku. I'm gonna get him a T-shirt for Christmas. I think
just like Masuaku, like smiling or something, just to get it put on a T-shirt for him. He'll absolutely love it.
Superimpose him just hugging Masuaku. Right, we'll put Repka, and he was he was a centre back, weren't he? They put him to right back, and he just seemed to work at right back.
Yeah, it just worked.
And he wasn't even bought as a right back as well. He just ended up there. Bless him. Right, let's go centre halves. Then Dan, who's your first centre half, man?
I'm going to go James Collins. There's lots of centre halves, right? But for me, a few of them I didn't see play enough. Obviously, we've had some very good centre halves in that time, but there's a few I didn't see play enough. James Collins, though, what it is with James Collins, he first joined the club, he struck up that partnership with Gabardon. I thought he was solid as a rock back there. He went off to Villa, and we were just a worse team after he went.
Yeah, true.
And it just ruined all that work that had been done at the back. And then he came back the second time, and he just for me, he just got cult hero status, didn't he? And he genuinely loves the club. Like, you can tell that he would have bled for the club, put his body on the line. The thing is, as well, he always had a mistake in him every single game. It was a standing joke with me and my brother-in-law. We'd always say, is he on the starting lineup? He'd be there. Right. What minute's he going to make the mistake? Because he'd always have one in him, and they wouldn't necessarily be bad mistakes. He might air kick it, or he might let someone in. He weren't blessed with pace, was he? But yeah, James Collins has to be in there. It was just quite difficult for the centre halves. It was him. The two I've put in have just made it in over two others. I was going to go potentially Winston Reid, but I just preferred Collins to Reid.
Yeah. And you're right. When he came back, he became. To be honest, I don't remember much of his first time. I'll be honest. It's like, but his second time, he just came back and he just looked more like a West Ham player. You know, he had a skinhead, he had a big,
Yeah.
he had a big beard. And obviously working with Richard Dunn at Villa, he just had that sort of like Richard Dunn-esque, you know,
Mm.
body on the line, and obviously famously we bought Gabardon because we wanted Collins.
Mm.
That's what I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
heard. So you know, he just sort of repaid that on the second stint. Right, all right. I put Jin. Who's Jin's gonna partner in the centres?
James Tompkins, I've gone with.
Oh,
So
JT.
I, I still to this day think it was one of the biggest mistakes we made selling him.
Yes.
I genuinely think he would be up there with Nobes with that cult hero. I genuinely do.
Yeah.
I think he'd be up there with Nobes. I think the fans. I still think even when the fans watch him play for Palace, I think we're gutted. A lot of fans,
Yeah.
I do. Genuinely do. He was very consistent, and again, he was a bit of a utility defender, weren't he? He played
He
right
was. Yeah.
back. He played
Yeah.
left back in his time. Like he could kind of do it all. Again, a bit like Collins, we'd probably get done with this defence. To be fair, it's not blessed with pace, is it at all? But technically, he was good at reading the game, and so
Yeah.
that's that bailed him out a lot. Like Collins, it's a get out of jail free card if you can technically read the game.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
he's always solid for me. I just thought he was
Yeah.
always solid, and I hate the fact he wears a Palace shirt now. And I
Yeah.
just
It was one of those ones where, you know, with hindsight, it's like because I think didn't we sell him, and then I think we had like 2 or 3 centre back injuries where he would have probably played
yeah.
most of that season. It's like
And
it's just the West Ham.
you look at the centre backs we got now.
Yeah.
No disrespect to him, but you look at the centre backs we got now. I'd have him in there as one of the 4. He'd do a really good job, like
Yeah.
in there. Do you know what I mean? Diop is so massively inconsistent. There's a very good player in there. I do believe there's a
There is.
very
Yeah.
good player in there, but he's so inconsistent. Oggy's literally the only consistent defender we've got.
It's
Like
true.
it's
Yeah.
mad when I think about Ogbonna. He was awful at times, but the last 2 years he's been solid
Well,
as
it
a
was,
rock.
wasn't
Hasn't
it? Those 3 of them are sort of like it's been like changing places. You know, it was Balbuena and Diop. They were the 2
Yeah.
that Ogbonna wasn't getting a look in. Then it was Diop and Ogbonna, and Balbuena wasn't getting a look in. Now, I don't think Diop's getting walking back into the side when he comes back from his self-isolation.
But Wayne has been brilliant coming in. Like, and you think about the season he had last year. Like, it's amazing to think that he's turned that corner. But yeah, for me, like I always think like every team it needs the 4 centre backs in case you have your injuries and whatnot. And I just think that with Tompkins, he'd still be in there. He'd still be playing football. I know he's been a little bit injury prone at this bit of his career, but I just think it was, in hindsight, I'm pretty sure the club probably wouldn't have sold him.
Yeah,
and he'd still be West Ham.
Yeah,
I was as far as the others are concerned. I had Gabardon written down. I thought he was solid when he was with us. Winston Reid, like I mentioned, and Rio. I see Rio play twice, so it was like really, really early on. And I just don't like as good as a player he turned into. I don't remember us seeing that Rio. He was nowhere near the finished article when he was at West Ham. So didn't want to put him in.
Doesn't that? It very rarely happens. We get a player in their pom. You know what I mean? It's always they're always bookended. It's either Sheringham or Rio. You know what I mean? It's like never that. Maybe once or twice banging that middle in that pom, but we might even come to one in a minute. Right, okay, let's go left midfield then. Let me go on the left.
I'm going to have Pyatt out on the left.
There we go. So I just going to see
it. Let's be honest. This is one of the easiest choices. It really was. Regardless of how he left the football club, we all have to forget that year that he gave us was phenomenal. He was arguably one of the best midfielders in the world that year. Like he was up there. He really was, and you could see why all the big clubs came calling while they were looking at selling him and buying him. And really, if you think about it, you think about the nature that he left. If the club had been clever, they should have just sold him in that summer because they would have got 50 odd million quid for him rather than selling him for half that. Do you know what I mean? And I know that the fans wouldn't have been happy about it, but the fans would have looked at it later on and gone, actually, we did well there because we signed him for like 11 million quid. Like, cost nothing. He came from France. No one knew anything about him, and he absolutely tore the Premier League to pieces, didn't he? He was unbelievable. Like, there's only one other player who was skillful and had that flair that I've seen play. Who's made it into my team. There was only one other player that really got my bum off the seat like he did. Like he was just one of them. And let's be honest as well. Free kick, guaranteed a goal. It was as good as a penalty.
It was like a penalty, and it was just anywhere 35 yards out. You're like, here we go. Here we
He
go.
ignored the laws of physics. That I still to this day can't believe it. Like I still watch it. It's the one against Crystal Palace. It just defies the laws of physics. I just don't know how he got that much whip and that much dip on it. And yeah, he was just phenomenal, unbelievable, really, really
He
unbelievable
was
player.
like he was one of the guys that all your mates who supported other teams wanted. Not like because occasionally it might be like, oh, my Tottenham fans might want this player because they need a centre back, but everyone wanted Payet. He was the man. It's like you felt like you had a special, and he did it from day one. I remember Southend that friendly, and he was doing it from there. And most players, obviously foreign players, come in, they take time, don't they, to bed
Yeah,
in straight off. And I think someone sent me an infographic the other day. I think he's created the most chances in the last decade across the 5
yeah.
European leagues or something.
It's a shame, really, that he's playing over in France because you don't really hear too much. But
No.
you look at his numbers; he's still playing very, very well.
Yeah,
Still doing absolute bits out there. But yeah, no, he was just, and he gave us a good moment on my stag do as well. We was in Prague on my stag do and we was playing United in the FA Cup, and the ball went down for that free kick, and everyone in the pub just went, "Oh yeah." Scan in. This is going in. This is going to be a moment. It was a moment for me brother to forget. Obviously, with being a Man United fan, but even he sat there and he just accepted the fact that ball was going in the back of the net.
Yeah,
and that's how confident you were every time he sort of stepped up, and he was just a wizard, wasn't he? Unbelievable player.
He made that last season what it was. It wouldn't have been that.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been at all.
No, perfect. It was just it doesn't happen very often where all the stars aligned. The right manager, the right time, the right player. Yeah, it was like it just worked.
Yeah, it was the perfect player for a perfect season, really, wasn't it? It was just.
Bless him. God bless him. God bless. And he's how he left. Yeah, he's left every club that way.
Yeah,
every club. And Marseille took him back. And he fucked them off for us, and he came back 2 years later. But anyway, bless him. Right, let's go right wing. Who we go on the right midfield?
Tricky Trev. Yeah, Trevor Sinclair.
We'll get a retweet.
Yeah, Tricky Trev. Honestly, 5 beautiful years. But a beautiful man, mate. He was phenomenal, wasn't he? He was just, I loved him. Just joy to watch. Another one. He was just a joy to watch, and just did phenomenal things. Some of the goals he scored, the one at the back post of volley, sort of over the head, sort of thing. Like he was the man who crossed for the Canio goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He couldn't have put in a more beautiful ball, could he? Everyone remembers that. Everyone remembers that goal for the volley. But let's be honest, people need to appreciate that ball into the box.
Before the tackle, Foe did an absolutely stonking. The pass from Foe to Sinclair, he's almost as good. But someone mentioned it the other day. I think it was Marshy when I was speaking to him, and he just said the audacity of Sinclair to even think, "Oh, yeah, Paolo's going to score this at the top.
Yeah.
I'm going to lob this over to him." It's not like.
And let's be honest, to put a ball in the box like that, you've got to have some thought in your mind to think he's going to stick it away.
He's going to stick it, yeah. And it's not like it's not like Paolo's going to have a towering header, and he's going to have to volley it. He's not going to beat anyone with a head, So it was, it's crazy when you think about it like that. But and he did say, when we interviewed Trevor, he was like saying, "Yeah, I just knew it. He was doing it in training, did it all the time in training." He's like, "Fucking hell." Absolutely mental. Right, Tricky Trev's in. God bless him.
Yes.
Central midfielder. Who's your first central midfielder, mate?
Well, I'm going to go with Yossi. I know he was more. He played wide, but he played inside as well, didn't he? I loved Yossi. Absolutely loved him. He looked like he weighed as much as me, but he was one of the hardest players to knock off the football. He had good feet, and generally he scored one of my favourite goals. That chip against Fulham. What a goal! And his celebration afterwards. Yossi's up there. I just love Yossi Benayoun, and I thought he was brilliant. And that was another sign that came out of absolutely nowhere. I'd never heard of him. I didn't know too much about him. And then he comes in and he was a workhorse, good in the tackle, very good going forward, scored some good goals. And obviously he went on to play for all the big boys, didn't he?
Liverpool, Chelsea. The first player to score a hat-trick in the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Premier League, and I think the League Cup as well.
Yeah, it just proves how good he was. There you go. That's a nice stat, that.
Not playing for West Ham at the time, obviously.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it would have been nice if he'd done it for West Ham.
Lovely. Champions League. It would be lovely. But yeah, that's what makes me laugh every time we do, because obviously West Ham Clips is a good friend of the channel, and when he always puts the champions, when we beat a team 3-0, whatever, I just love it. But yeah, Yoshi was the man, wasn't he? And someone, I can't remember who it was a player, it might have been Matty Effington or someone like that, said he loved the tackle. He's like, he would go in.
You could see it in the game.
A bit of rough, yeah.
And it's weird because that weren't if you actually think about his game, that weren't part of his game,
No.
but he did it. But he got his foot stuck in, and if you go back and watch him, you'll see that actually he broke a lot of attacks up. He did a lot of that hard graft, even though he didn't need to, and he was always at the forefront of a majority of the attacks. And he was he had to be him. He had to be him for me because he had the skill. He had the skill. He had the quick feet, could finish, but he did the hard work as well. And I appreciate any midfielder that gets involved in the hard work.
Definitely. Right, okay, Yoshi's in. Who's he going to partner then in the centre?
So I feel a bit of a fraud because you can't obviously see it on camera, but I actually I've got a picture of Mark Noble behind me that he needs putting up, but I'm not going with Noble. So now I feel a bit of a fraud because the picture's there behind me. But I'm going to go
looking at you, going, why?
Yeah, he's going. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not in?
What do you mean?
I was going to have him. I was going to have him, and he was in. Mark Noble was in there till probably the final hour, just because what a servant. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to go Scott Parker.
Scotty P. Yeah,
Scotty P. I don't know. There's just something about Scott Parker's game that I preferred.
Yeah,
that's all it is. And I think without Scotty P, Noble don't do half the stuff he does. He learned a lot off of Scott Parker. I even think he probably learned how to be a captain. Scotty P was decent.
I totally agree.
When he wore the armband and stuff, like the famous, what was it, 3-0 down at half time?
Weren't even captain.
Yeah, but he got in there. He had a word, turned it around, and he was just a joy to watch. Again, I think he's not one of those players. He weren't the best player. Like I don't think he was the best player technically, but every now and then he'd just do something that would blow your mind. The outside of the foot one that he bent top corner, was it against Chelsea? I think it was. That was phenomenal goal. The Scotty Parker turn as well. It was worth going over there just for that, and he just edges Nobes, just because I think Nobes has a lot to thank Parker for. I think Nobes probably learned so much from Scotty Parker that that's why Nobes has been able to probably have the career that he's had, and go on to to be this amazing sort of West Ham legend. And I think Noble might not have won anything with the football club other than the playoffs and whatnot, but he's going to go down as a legend. No players made more Premier League appearances than him, and he's up there as one of the players with the most appearances and whatnot. So he's going to go down as a legend, but I do think he has a lot of it.
Yeah,
he's going to thank Scott.
Yeah, and I think actually it's almost like this circle of life type thing, because obviously there's no doubt that Noble learned so much how to be captain and how to play for West Ham because of Scott, and there's no doubt that Deck has learned so much from Mark. So it's sort of like, and they've all passed down the Parker pirouette. Mark Noble does it all the time, and I know Deck's done it recently, a few times, and it's almost like it's a rite of passage, But
definitely. The thing is, if he was to do this again in a few years, guarantee Rice is going to make it in.
Oh,
if Rice was to stay, past this year, I know a lot of us are worried about, Rice eventually he's going to be poached by one of the big boys, isn't he? It's going to happen. But I think under this ownership, maybe depends what happens with the football club in the future. Well, none of us can predict.
No.
To predict that, we're not Mystic Meg, are we? Unfortunately, we can't see where it's going to go. But I do think he'll probably make it into people's teams eventually. Rice is arguably one of the best players I've seen play for West Ham.
Yeah, you same as me, Dad. We've lived through, different regimes, different ownership, selling our best players, never really getting what we deserve for the player. Thinking of Joe and Frank and even Rio. Leeds flipped him and doubled their money in 18 months, and so it's always been the case. And that's the worst thing about being a West Ham fan, is when a player turns up. So like Ngakia last season, when he turned up, you're thinking, oh, until he fucks off. It's like you just knew it, and it's like. With Deck, I just think I've just got this weird rose claret tinted glasses, but he's not stupid. Do you know what I mean? He knows Mark gets away with a lot. Mark might have a 6 out of 10, but we still make it a 7. You know what I mean? It's because he's Mark Noble, and you never know. You never know. He's already in the England squad. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
that is a good point you make, though. He's not got to leave to be playing international football. He's doing that already at West Ham. I said last season, Mark's time's coming, if not up. He's the last 10 minutes player now, Mark
Yeah.
Noble. Unfortunately, he's reached that bit of his career.
Yeah.
I put the armband on deck, and you just offer him a new 5-year contract.
Yeah.
All of the contract protects the fee, and the
Yeah.
armband gives him the responsibility that he probably deserves now.
Yeah, no, I
me.
totally agree. And it's like it was almost like when we played that Everton game in the cup. It's almost like we put him in the shop window to say, "I'm not a very good centre back.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not very good."
Well, that's what Chelsea wanted to buy him for,
And that's
apparently.
what you want to buy him for. Yeah, exactly. And and it'll be if he went to Chelsea, it would because that's exactly what Frank will do. John Terry Mark II, and it'll be a waste to England and a waste to the Premier
Yeah.
League because I honestly think he's probably one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. I really do. I can't think of anyone else at the moment who plays as well as Deck at the moment.
The thing is, as well, he's doing more than your average defensive
Yeah,
midfielder as well.
yeah,
That run against Leicester was unbelievable
yeah,
the other day, weren't it? But he drives forward. Most defensive midfielders, Carrick is probably a good one to use
yes,
because
good shout.
he's ex West Ham, but like he sat in the hole. There was that pocket, there was that 20-yard box, and he didn't leave it.
Yeah,
That's where he operated from. Whereas Deck will go past the halfway line. He will sit on the edge of the box and
yeah,
he will dictate from higher up the pitch and stuff. So I think he is a bit more than a
yeah.
DM.
Definitely, and I mean, I think he can do that now because he's got Souček with him. I think to be honest, no disrespect to Mr. Noble, but he was carrying him a little bit last season.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was almost like he couldn't. It was almost like he was restrained. You know what I mean? Now with Souček, they both of them can take it in turns to be the galvanizing. And I mean, you think Man City like Fernandinho. That's the team that I'm surprised haven't put a bid in for him because they desperately need this sort of. And he would be perfect for them. But yeah,
I don't mind seeing him play for them either. Do you know what I mean? As long as he don't go Chelsea, I don't really mind.
As long as they go Chelsea and down the N7, to N17, 3-point lane, I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, all right.
Kind of
Anyway, let's move on, just so City don't get any ideas. Right, keep that one under our hats. That one, Dan. Right, okay. Up front, who are we gonna have up front, man? Who's your first striker?
I'm going Dean Ashton as number one. If only he didn't go off on international duty, what could have been? I always say this. I think we had the next Alan Shearer on our hands.
I totally agree.
He was very, very Shearer-esque. Good with both feet, good in the air. He just reminded me a lot of Shearer, and I generally think we had the next Shearer on our hands. I remember watching him at Norwich and thinking he'd do all right for us. And then obviously we bought him, and the night he came out at Upton Park, I was there. Yeah, I was there that night, and I was absolutely buzzing for the fact we signed him, and he was just so good. And the thing, what it is, he's probably one of the last strikers we bought before this fiasco that we've had. Like he was one of the last ones we bought where he actually scored goals, and you almost felt like you were guaranteed a goal whenever he stepped out on the pitch. But since then, it's just been a complete mess. I was looking at someone had put a little list of players together today of like the goals they scored and the amount of games they played, and it's just awful, isn't it? It's just so bad. And and he scored some memorable goals, didn't he? Scored the one in the FA Cup. Yeah. Obviously, I know we didn't go on to win it, but that was an unbelievable day out. I went to that cup final, and he scored in that one. Was integral to the run up. Was brilliant that season, and I just think the minute I went 4-4-2, it was like he's got to be in there.
Yeah,
he just had to be.
Yeah, he was in mine too. I just think I was exactly the same. I had the same excitement really when we signed Bowen, because it's like very not similar players at all, but they're from the Championship, British, hungry, and you knew they would do a job. And and Dino had everything. He had everything. I think he had more than Shearer because I just think he had a bit more skill about him. Do he could beat a man with, and he may not have been, he would have been basically Rooney's partner for years in England and maybe at Man United as well, possibly. But it's always a show. And I always, if anything with Sean Wright-Phillips comes on the telly, or I can't watch it, I look at him like Paul, people look at Paul Ince in that disgust. I can't look at Sean Wright-Phillips, bless him. And it's such a West Ham thing. The smallest player to fucking play for England or whatever he was, hobbles our star striker for many years. But yeah. Oh, poor Dino.
If only, eh?
If only.
He needed to be a bit more shit, didn't he? So he didn't get called up for England.
Yeah. Oh dear, poor Dino being so good. Right, okay. Last one.
The last one's obvious, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
obvious. It's Mr. Paolo Di Canio. It had to be.
yeah,
The lunatic, the maverick, the box office sensation. Honestly, bums off seats. He had everything. He had everything.
he
He just,
was.
I don't really know. I could be here all night talking about him.
He's
He was
brilliant.
just so good. Now, I am going to say one thing, though. Everybody always talks about that volley
Mm.
against Wimbledon. It is phenomenal. It's going to probably go down as one
Yep,
of the greatest West Ham goals ever scored.
yep,
I controversially prefer the one against Chelsea. You know, the one where he keeps it up and then
yep.
absolutely
Flicks it,
stonks it
bang.
past
Yeah, yeah.
Cudicini. Yeah, that's the one that always stands out for me. Yeah, unbelievable goal. But yeah, my brother-in-law was actually lucky enough to be behind the goal for the Wimbledon one. He
Wow.
was actually there in attendance. He actually got to watch it, which is pretty special in it in itself, considering, you know, how famous that goal's become. Like, it's not just synonymous with West Ham fans; it's synonymous with, you know, football fans worldwide. Really,
Yeah,
when you're talking
yeah,
about the Premier League, isn't it? So,
definitely.
but yeah, he was just what a player.
He was just box office, wasn't he? And I mean, I remember that game vividly because that was obviously Canute's home debut, and I was more. And I was like, "Fucking!" I said, "We've got the next Henri here. This is the next Thierry Henry. We've got him." And then DeCanio does that. And you go, "Oh yeah, Paolo's here as well."
Yeah, don't forget about him.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he was just brilliant, wasn't he? And he was just part of that, part of that era that I was my favourite era as a West Ham fan. You know, that Redknapp era. I mean, we've just put up an interview with Razor today, and honestly, and Trevor Sinclair and people like that I've interviewed. Oh, it's just brilliant. The stories and that's it.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it, with Paolo? Whenever, you know, if you ever you get stuck in these YouTube rabbit holes, didn't you, from time to
Yeah.
time, and you'll be looking up, you know, stories about old players, and you know the amount of stories that Harry has got
Oh,
about Paolo Di Canio, and they're all hilarious, like
yeah.
just because of the way he was. And the thing I love about Paolo is that football had given up on him.
They
Football
had.
had
Yeah.
completely given
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
on him. Harry took a chance. West Ham fans took him to their art, and he took us to his art as well. He fell in love
Mm,
with a club.
mm,
Even to this day, you know, he still crosses the irons.
yeah.
He goes over there when he can, and you know, I, I can't ask for more than that. You
Mm.
know, he gets what it is to be West Ham, and
Yes.
I think that's what everybody loves about Paolo.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's why. Yeah, I think I don't know. I haven't watched all the videos. I've watched the majority of them on this channel. He gets mentioned so often,
It
so
does.
often.
Yeah. I think he's actually now just taken over your left back in the most. I think I can't. I haven't got the stats on me. I usually
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
have the spreadsheet, but yeah, he is. But also, yeah, and you're right. And everyone has a story about him, whether it's Scandinavian Hammers, and they've got stories about him. And the best one, I think, the best. There's two. One is Nicky Hawkins from West Ham Fan TV story about him at a players meet and greet event, and he turns up just looking like $1 million, And Nicky put, bless him, put a shirt and a pair of trousers on and went, "Paolo, you look beautiful today. You look lovely." And he just went, "I always dress up for my family." Mic drop. That was before mic drops were,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
before Obama did them. But yeah. And the other one was Michael Clifford, who was writing for the Scandinavian Hammers, and he was interviewing him at Chadwell Heath, and I think it was a cup game, so the team weren't there, but he was training, and all we could hear was this like whistle, someone whistling the Paolo Di Canio song for like 30 minutes, like continually. And then out walks Paolo out of the shower. It was him. And he had like a towel over his shoulders, like bronze body towel. And he's just about literally going to jump into the car with just a towel on. And it was him whistling his own fucking song. And he's like, "Paolo, we got the interview." Went, "Oh, sorry, mate." Pulled a pair of pants on, jumps in the car, and just chats to him about an hour and a half and stuff. But it's just brilliant.
I'll never forget that. There was a story that Joe Cole told about him, and he said they were getting ready to go out. They were away from home and they're about to play this game, and he said Paolo always sat on his own. He always sat on his own, and he went over there and he sat next to him. He said Paolo was rubbing his legs and he was talking to him. It was like he was telling his legs what they needed to do. And he said he was batshit
Oh,
crazy,
I love him.
but he was an absolute, a wonder
Yeah.
on the pitch and an absolute joy to play with. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many stories out there. But not
It's
only
like
are there stories off the pitch, but
on the
he did
pitch, yeah.
on the pitch. He did the talking with his feet as well, didn't he? He was phenomenal.
Well, he did, and he did. He was like, I think we, yes, we want to see good football, but we want to be entertained as well. And he was the pantomime villain and the pantomime. He was Buttons, and he was the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
He didn't know which. Same as Replica, he didn't know which one was going to turn up. And I remember, like even things like that Arsenal game when he's got his shorts on backwards because he was unlucky, with Arsenal, and just absolutely batshit. And because he had his song, and it's just everything about. I love a player who's a good song. So him and Pyatt.
Well, it's like the Bradford game's the one that always does me. He gave up. He gave up on the game, and then all of a sudden, we get the penalty, and that's it. He comes back alive.
We start singing, and it was like he sort of re-energized himself, like he was in a computer game, and he's got a health pack, and he's like, and he's like, I will play.
Yeah, it's just so strange.
I could love the man.
Right,
Absolutely brilliant, man. Listen, man, it's been brilliant chatting, Dan. I've really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so. An hour has literally flown by.
It has flown by, mate.
That's mental. That's mental. Anyway, mate, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, mate.
No, I appreciate you having me on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Hopefully the little one sleeps through tonight for you.
Yeah, fingers crossed. She has been. She has been, yeah.
Oh,
she's been decent, mate. She's been sleeping through from
mine's
about 8 weeks.
Mine's 8 and still don't, so it doesn't make no difference. Although, and then I'll come back and she'll be in my wife's bed, my bed with my wife. We have separate beds,
You sleep in your little shed, mate. That's what it is. You can banish down there.
I think I will do. That's it. Last night I ended up sleeping in my daughter's bed. I woke up with the dog there looking at me, like. So fucking hell. Anyway, a little insight to my life then. Obviously, get over to Fandango and give them some love. Obviously the podcast and stuff as well. It's all good stuff, and it's nice. It's all Premier League stuff. You know what I mean? It's not just. And obviously you do
it's nice to just get something a bit different in your life, isn't it? Rather than listen to everyone moan about West Ham all the time, we moan about other clubs. It's good at the minute because you get to watch my brother have a meltdown about Man United, and we all love that. So, get involved.
Yeah, it's all good. And obviously, all the, obviously the second channel as well. The football manager stuff and all the, imagine all the FIFA stuff you're going to be doing stuff.
Loads of stuff, mate.
It's all good. Anyway, so everyone, thank you for watching. Whether it's on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever, give it a share, give it a like. And until next time, from me and Dan, take care, stay safe. Very, very important at the moment, everybody. Wash those hands and come on your irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. See you later.